Good morning, dear. I guess none of us really slept in on this beautiful Saturday morning.
One of the unfortunate parts of the working world is when you've worked a job long enough that you become hardwired to your usual schedule. No problem though, actually being able to wake up and enjoy a sunrise because you're not darting off to work is a good thing.
Even better that you're not starting the day with the goofy wake and do jokes.
I thought you'd had enough of those by now. Plus, let's leave the nonsense of the work week back in the work week where it belongs.
That's okay. We have a really good reason to be out and about today. It would appear that our nerd rally in Cry has galvanized the local nerd community. Let's just say Cheslin Nerdy's restaurant was just the beginning. In the meantime, let's have a nice breakfast. We'll need it today, that's for sure.
Animations for World of the Nerd Couple are generated by Plotagon. Visit plotagon.com to check out the app.
Is this really happening? Cheslin Nerdy's restaurant is really trying to form a nerd social club downtown as a result of our Nerd Up thing.
Oh yes. And you will love the name. It's called the Nerd Up Society. And there goes a van full of nerds that just can't wait to get to the conference.
Conference? Really? This thing is already that big.
Nerd Up really went viral. Downtown belongs to the nerds today. Expect more talking about computers and sci-fi and other stuff than you've ever seen before.
Well, this'll certainly take some getting used to.
Anyways, the extra tablets I grabbed before we left the house should allow us to go walk and talk on our own and then find a spot to meet back up later. This thing is going to be massive. There's an indoor part and an outdoor part.
Are you saying that this Nerd Up thing has led to nerds practically taking over the town?
Oh yes. We won't be intimidated anymore. When we arrive, let's go check it all out and message each other on the tablets to meet back up.
Sounds like a plan. Ritzy, weren't you just all goth last night at the restaurant?
That's Priestess Ritzy, to you. I'm cosplaying a bit at the nerd convention. I also have a lot of fun with hair dye on occasion. Perhaps too much fun.
Cheslin Nerdy's must be an interesting restaurant to work at these days.
This is actually an interesting idea that the restaurant had with the whole Nerd Up thing. The idea is to create a feedback loop where folks who dine at the nerd restaurant want to join the society and vice versa.
An interesting plan, particularly if it emboldens the nerds in town. What about you though? Don't you have dinner service tonight? Wouldn't you have to go change back into goth mode?
Nope. I'm off tonight and the promo ends tonight. So what do you say? Care to escort this priestess to the convention hall? Oh my goodness. Ritzy. You were all goth last night and dyed your hair again. Don't you worry about all the chemicals. Maybe I'm going overboard, but hey, you only live once. By the way, your man is such a gentleman. Does anyone ever tell you that? He's totally a wonderful catch. Oh yes. I also know firsthand just how much of a nice guy he is. Was he nice enough to walk you over to your booth? Held doors. Made sure none of my costume got snagged. Kept a nice pace. He's such a prince. Congratulations. And what's your costume supposed to be? A priestess healer, like many of the characters I play in online RPGs. Made it myself before I built my gaming PC. Make sure you thank Jay for the whole Nerd Up thing. It's why we're here. Nerd Up. Woo.
Tom from Finance. You, here, cosplaying, at a nerd convention. You didn't think I was a square bean counter all the time, I hope. Nerd up. Woo 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 woo. Believe me, if there's any nerd wannabe in the office, I'm the biggest one. Therefore, I wish thee the best in thy journeys, and nerd long and prosper. Don't say that too loud. You might go viral and wind up creating a new nerd society. I'm not worried. The nerd rallying cry addresses a social need that nerds have. Yet another benediction to say to somebody just to be nice won't be dethroning at any time soon. By the way, do you have a map of this place? You can get one from the info desk. These booths can look quite similar. I know a few things about convention halls and other venues as an AV geek. By the way, what's your costume supposed to be? My fantasy lore is a little rusty, but if there's such thing as a Roman centurion paladin, I'm totally it. The finance guy cosplays as a paladin. I'm starting to think Lauren and I are a tad underdressed.
A Roman centurion paladin. Oh man, you are so rusty on your lore. Paladins even historically came after the Romans, and the Romans never wore armor that looked like this.
Don't most fantasy archetypes take liberties with anything from actual history? You must be ritzy. I'm Tom, a financial analyst who works at the same big company as the nerd couple.
Well, nice to meet you, Tom. I don't think we've met. How did you know who I was, if I may ask?
I'm here to deliver some good news from the convention committee organizers. We won the costume contest.
We did. Oh, that's so wonderful. I never win anything at these things. Nerd up, nerd up, nerd up. Woo 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 woo.
The judges must have liked us because we match. Shall we go get our prizes?
Our me lady, what have we here? A lost damsel afloat in the high seas of this convention hall.
Scotty. Whoa. Wow. You're definitely getting original here. Like, I'm not surprised to see you at a nerd convention, but a sea captain when everyone else is going all fairy tale fantasy.
Why go with the flow instead of doing something different? Some people are into fairy tales. I'm into high seas adventure. History nerds are still nerds too. I just have to be careful not to punch my hat when I go. Nerd up, nerd up, nerd up. Woo 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 woo.
You know, I've heard that more times in the last 2 days than ever.
What can I say? It's pretty darn catchy.
Hey, while we're here, got time to answer a question about you and Jay?
Sure, why not?
Is he really the reason you're able to keep your job as a PC tech?
Oh, busted. I knew the jig would be up someday. Actually, I have a lot of IT experience. I've just spent most of the time in server rooms in recent years. Jay, though, has been incredible in helping me catch up with how PCs developed while I was tinkering with servers for years. He's really knowledgeable and has this drive and intuition to figure out anything that stumps him. You should consider yourself really lucky to be with a guy like him.
Oh, you don't need to remind me. I know him all too well. Not trying to be embarrassing here or anything. I'd better let you get back to your sea captain cosplay. Have fun. And so it begins. The Nerd Up Society, and greater teamwork between nerds all around this crazy town. And to think, we started it.
Oh yes. And more nerd up rally cries than you can shake a stick at.
And more nerds blowing by on the freeway than ever before. Perhaps we should have all just stayed home and played video games.
Nah, that would be too nerdy. Oh wait.
Still though, it's good to see that we don't all sit home poking around on computers instead of actually being social all the time.
At least until the Nerd Up Society starts hosting LAN parties.
Nerd up, nerd up, nerd up. Woo 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 woo.
Doody 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 doo. Gotta keep both eyes on the road. Doody 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 doo.
Well, thanks for staying safe behind the wheel when other nerds were blowing by us to and from the convention.
It was the right thing to do. Not so sure about those nerds in a rush, especially on the way home.
Nerd up, nerd up, nerd up. Woo 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 woo.
Now that's the way to properly take an IOU for a nerd up rally cry. Let's see what's on TV.
Welcome back to the Really Old Rock Star Show. I'm Nigel, and I'm old enough to be some of y'all's great-grandfather, but let me tell you I can still belt with the flying V. My special guest tonight is a lovely lady who really needs help hitting some high notes, or even the mids, so I want to help her shriek like a hairband singer. Let's hear your story.
It's so horrible. I called the ladies' fitness club and they say wrong number because they think I'm a guy. Sometimes I'll be on the phone with some of my kids' friends and they'll say they want to talk to mom instead of dad. It's terrible.
Well, mama, you're a hot mama, and one heck of a cougar for the hunters in the audience, but let's make you sound less like papa.
The things that end up on TV these days.
$10 says he just gets her to falsetto, then claims that he's helped her.
Good old television, reminding us that at least real life isn't so weird.